Formaldehyde is one of the most dangerous indoor air pollutants in the world, and most people don't even realize it's around them. Formaldehyde is a colorless, flammable chemical that's used all over the place when it comes to industry. It's used in building materials, it's used in personal care products, furniture manufacturing. Pretty much everything that you might encounter normally in the course of your life in a modern world has got some formaldehyde as part of it. Formaldehyde can cause DNA damage. Chronic exposure to things like formaldehyde can even lead to cancer. I want to give you some practical steps how you can actually lower formaldehyde exposure in your house. This is actually a really important, simple thing you can do. Hi everyone, Dr. William Li here. You might not think about the chemical formaldehyde when you're relaxing at home, but chances are it's actually there. And here's why that matters. Formaldehyde is one of the most dangerous indoor air pollutants in the world, and most people don't even realize it's around them. Now, you know, I normally talk about food as medicine, but the air that we breathe is just as critical as food when it comes to your health. In this video, I'm going to explain what is formaldehyde, where it hides in your home, what the science says about its impact on your body, and how food and lifestyle choices can help protect you. Starting today. Ready? Let's go. Formaldehyde is a colorless, flammable chemical that's used all over the place when it comes to industry. It's used in building materials. It's used in personal care products. It's even used in embalming fluid in the funeral industry. Formaldehyde's used in tanning when you actually have leather. Furniture manufacturing to make resins and adhesives, pretty much everything that you might encounter normally in the course of your life in a modern world has got some formaldehyde as part of it. Now, a lot of people think about that as a factory chemical, but what you don't realize is that formaldehyde is actually produced naturally by your own body. That's right, every one of us produces small amounts of formaldehyde as part of our normal metabolism. So what does that lead to? Formaldehyde can cause DNA damage, and when proteins bind formaldehyde, they are misfolded. So think about proteins like a shirt that you want to fold perfectly well to pack into a suitcase, right? Formaldehyde is like basically somebody pulling off the shirt out of your suitcase, rumpling it, all right? And then you try to pack that, it's not going to work very well. When your proteins are misfolded because formaldehyde is bound to them, the proteins don't work really well. And proteins actually impair your body's ability to run its engine and also to fix itself, all right? Now, if this happens once in a while, not a big deal. Your body's very resilient. But over time, over a long period of time, chronic exposure to this kind of molecular disruption, that's exactly what leads to cell breakdown, organ breakdown, chronic inflammation, cellular aging, and chronic exposure to things like formaldehyde can even lead to cancer. And that's why exposure to format has been identified as one of the top environmental cancer risk carcinogens in the country, in the United States. It's been strongly linked to nasopharyngeal cancer. That's a cancer of the lining of the nose and the back of your mouth. Makes total sense, right? You're breathing this stuff in from exposure. It's also linked to myeloid leukemia. That's a blood cancer because now the formaldehyde's binding to proteins and DNA, which is in your body, and your white blood cells are where leukemia actually comes from. It's also in your blood. Formaldehyde exposure is also linked to lung cancer, chronic respiratory inflammation, and other lung damage. And that makes sense because, again, we're breathing it in. This is why I want to share information about formaldehyde and why you need to think about it and you need to look out for it, okay? When you actually think about setting up a house, or when you're buying furniture, or when you're looking at a new car, for example, all those things can actually have lots of toxins and solvents and formaldehyde exposed to the materials that are in it. Let's talk a little bit more about where you might actually find this and what you can actually do about it. Where's formaldehyde found in your house? You don't need to live near a chemical plant to be exposed to formaldehyde. It's used in materials to make everyday products more durable. That's the reason formaldehyde was actually developed and used, all right? But when that formaldehyde is in your products, it off-gases over time. You know what off-gassing is, right? Think about it. A carpet, Brand new carpet, carpet off gases. Brand new cars, smells great. All right, that's off-ging. Brand new furniture also has this characteristic smell. We associate it with something new and something wonderful, and it's so cool and great. Smells great. Actually, that's off-ging solvents. It ends up in the air, and then we breathe it right in. Expose our nasal passages, back of our mouth, our lungs to it, and then it can get into our bloodstream as well. How does your body handle exposure to formaldehyde? All right. Well, there's some good news to this. Your body isn't completely defenseless. Now, I talk a lot about the body's health defenses. I'm about to tell you another way that the body can defend itself against formaldehyde. All right. And guess what? Your body has a defense against formaldehyde too. And here's how it works. Once formaldehyde enters your bloodstream, let's say that you're breathing some off-gassing in from an air freshener or from a new carpet. Guess what? The formaldehyde is broken down by your liver into something called formate. Remember I told you about the enzyme formaldehyde dehydrogenase? Your body is ready to break this thing down, all right? So it doesn't accumulate, and then that formate, as I mentioned before, is much less toxic. It's in your bloodstream, it gets filtered by your kidneys, and then you pee it out, excreted by your urine. This is your body's natural detox system. And actually, it's not just formaldehyde, but many other chemicals that you might be exposed to. That means your liver and your kidneys are doing the heavy lifting when it comes to detoxifying your body when it comes to formaldehyde. And now to do their job, you got to support these organs. You got to make sure you're good to your liver, all right? Don't drink too much alcohol and don't get exposed to other solvents that can actually compromise your liver as well. Don't overeat. You know, when you actually have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, basically metabolically, you've overwhelmed your liver, and now it's not going to work as well to detoxify your body against formaldehyde. And kidneys? What about your kidneys? Well, the best way to take good care of your kidneys is to stay hydrated. And of course, you can eat the right foods that can help both liver and kidney. But hydration is really important. Your kidney needs to be well watered. Think about it like a air conditioning conditioner with a filter. If you don't run that air conditioner, okay, and get things moving through it, it's not going to actually filter as well. And your kidney filters blood. So you need to be able to keep that blood flowing through that. Best way to do that is by staying hydrated. Okay, so I think it's time to talk about foods that can help strengthen your body's natural detox systems, right? So let's start with your liver. What are some of the things, the foods that we can eat that can help improve our liver's function? Well, here's the thing. Most of the things that are helpful, you already know. I've talked about this before. Whole plant-based foods are definitely good. So which ones are they that help your liver? Well, cruciferous vegetables. You know, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts. They boost enzymes in the liver that can help to clear away toxins. Not just formaldehyde, but other toxins as well. All right, that's what you want. Cruciferous vegetables. Eat your broccoli means clear that formaldehyde and other toxins. Garlic and onions. Now, I like to cook Mediterranean as well as Asian. I call it Mediterranean-style cooking. That's the kind of food that I actually whip out in my own kitchen. But common to both Mediterranean cooking and Asian cooking are garlic and onions. They are incredibly flavorful. They belong to the allium family. You can find them in the produce section and in farmers markets. So guess what? Garlic and onions are rich in sulfur. All right, that's an element that also helps to improve the liver's detox systems. Sulfur is needed to make something called glutathione. And glutathione is another molecule used for detox. All right, so eating garlic and onions helps to power up your liver's glutathione to be able to detoxify. So we talked about what we talked about. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, garlic and onions. Here's another one, beets. Beets contain a bioactive natural chemical called betaine, all right? And betaine can actually help your liver regenerate itself. Your liver, by the way, is one of those organs that has incredible regenerative capacity. In fact, if you were to take a healthy liver, all right, if I took your liver and I cut away 2/3 of it, left only 1/3 back in your body, threw the other part away, all right? Okay, we got to give it to somebody to transplant a liver. We're short of livers. That's important. But that 1/3 of a liver left in your body, guess what? Over the course of about a year or two, can completely regenerate itself. That is an example of how you know how a starfish can regrow an arm or a salamander regrow a limb. Well, we humans can regenerate our liver, all right, if you get the right part of it. All right, so that's quite important. So liver regeneration can be enhanced, can be supported, promoted by eating beets. Betaine can help regenerate the liver. What other foods are liver protective? Green tea, my favorite. Okay, and a lot of people's favorite. Green tea contains polyphenols. One of them is called EGCG, epigallocattin 3 gallate. Don't worry about memorizing all the names. EGCG, it's a cakin, it's a polyphenol. It's a polyphenol that's a powerful antioxidant, and this antioxidant protects against the cellular damage caused by formaldehyde, all right? So if you drink your green tea, have a beet salad, all right? Have some veggies on the side, maybe some sauteed broccoli or a kale salad or something else delicious, roasted Brussels sprouts. Guess what? You'll be actually protecting your liver. Oh, and by the way, one other thing about green tea, the polyphenols also from tea actually directly they grab onto the formaldehyde to neutralize that chemical. Another good thing. All right, Mother Nature's pretty smart. Put a lot of useful things into her food. That's why we call it Mother Nature's Pharmacy. Not with a PH like pharmaceutical, but Mother Nature's Pharmacy with an F. Okay, that's the liver. What about the kidney? How do we actually take care of the kidney? Well, I told you that the kidney will remove and eliminate the formate, which is the less toxic version of formaldehyde that your liver tackled, right? So remember, get exposed to formaldehyde, goes into your bloodstream, gets to your liver immediately starts to tackle it, breaking it down from formaldehyde into formate. So go from very toxic to less toxic. Still want to get rid of that in the body? Goes to your kidneys. Your kidneys basically filter it and get rid of it. You pee it right out. Okay, so what do you want to do for the kidney to take care of it? Well, I said this earlier and I'll say it again. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Hydration is key for life itself. If you want a good brain, good heart, good skin, good hair, you absolutely need to stay hydrated. And too many of us actually don't keep up with our water because we're just trained to power our way through the day and not pay attention to the fact that we're losing water all the time. You don't have to be in a hot environment and sweating to lose water. We have these things called insensible losses. Every time you exhale, every time you speak, all right, you're losing a little bit of water. Actually, when your eyes are open, you're losing a little bit of water that evaporates through your eyeballs. Hydration is key. Your kidney needs to be well hydrated, well water, to efficiently flush out waste. Now, some of you might say, wait a minute, I remember being told that coffee and tea can cause dehydration. Well, if you drink less than 10 cups of coffee a day, less than 10 cups of tea, you're going to be just fine. Okay? Research, human clinical studies have actually shown that you do not get dehydrated if you drink less than 10 cups of tea or coffee every single day. When you eat or drink, keep your liver and your kidneys in mind. They're helping your body stay resilient, especially in an environment that challenges it, including by having formaldehyde off-gain from all the stuff that we have around us in our homes. I got to tell you one more thing about formaldehyde, all right? And that's what it does to your blood vessels, your vascular health. I'm one of the few people you're going to hear about this vascular health. I'm a vascular biologist. I'm an expert in a field of blood vessels called angiogenesis. Blood vessel genesis, how your body grows them. So I want to point out something that most people won't know about, even other doctors and experts on health and wellness, all right? And this is about formaldehyde specifically. And that is that formaldehyde that you get exposed to just by being in your house or in a building can cause vascular damage. You got 60,000 miles worth of blood vessels. That's your vascular system, your circulation inside your body. These are the highways and byways for the oxygen that you breathe and the nutrients that you eat, all right? Your blood cells, your immune system, everything's got to go through your bloodstream. And when you're exposed to formaldehyde, it damages the lining of your blood vessels. Now, how do we know this? Well, lots of research, but there's a specific study that was published in the journal Toxicology and Applied Pharmacology. All right, researchers from North Carolina did this. They showed that exposure to formaldehyde causes vascular damage in women. So this is a small study, but an important one. We don't have to always go to these gigantic studies. Even small studies can give us a proof of concept to show us, actually, this is something we got to worry about, especially for harms. So what they did is they took 10 women, and these women were in a health profession school. They were about to start an anatomy class. Now, I can tell you as a doctor, when you're in medical school, one of the first classes you take is anatomy class. So what do? You get your gown, you get your surgical mask, you get your gloves, you learn how to wash your hands, and you enter this room. It's got a lock on the door, and guess what? You enter anatomy class, and it's a room filled with cadavers, and you're going to dissect them to learn the organs and learn the parts of the human body. Probably one of the most important courses that a doctor or nurse or somebody studying health professions will ever actually take, all right? And it's a real privilege to be able to do this because there are people who donated their bodies to science so that we health providers can learn from their bodies so we can help other living people as well. It's a real gift when that happens, and and we have to be really grateful for it. Okay, but guess what? Those cadavers are embalmed with formaldehyde. So these women in this research study from North Carolina, all right, they were coming in to dissect cadavers that had been preserved with formaldehyde. And I can tell you, if you ever talk to anybody who's been to medical school, all right, I will tell you that smell you'll never forget. You walk into that room and the whole place smells like formaldehyde. And it doesn't smell like dead bodies, but it does smell like formaldehyde. So what the researchers did is they measured in their blood what their blood was like at baseline, and then before and after exposure to the formaldehyde. All right. So, and then they looked at their vascular function. And here's what they found. I can tell you this as somebody who studies blood vessels. Wow, that is a huge decrease. If that's happening in your arms, guess what? That vascular dysfunction or malfunction or loss of resiliency is happening across the rest of your body as well. Think about that implication when it's in your brain. Less resilience in your heart blood vessels, less resilience in your muscles, less resilience in your energy level, your long-term health, your metabolism. All of that's actually going to suffer. So this is clinical evidence that even short-term exposure to formaldehyde has health consequences. Good news is that the flow-mediated dilation, your blood vessel health will recover. Most people are happy to hear this, and that is dark chocolate. Dark chocolate has lots of a plant-based substance called cacao. Cacao is what chocolate's made out of. And cacao, which comes from a bean that looks like a football pot, actually is packed with polyphenol. The darker the chocolate, the higher the number of polyphenols that come from the cacao. Makes perfect sense. 70, 80% or higher is what I tell people to aim for. What do these cacao dark chocolate polyphenols do? They promote stem cells to come out from your bone marrow, okay? They mobilize stem cells and they improve flow, immediate dilation. They improve the resiliency of your circulation. That would be important to do if you're exposed to solvents and toxins like formaldehyde. What's another thing that can actually improve your circulation? Fruits and their peel. Fruits with peel, apples, plums, cherries, okay? Now the flesh of these fruits contain chlorogenic acid, but the skin contains aroleic acid. That's your circulation. Food as medicine doesn't have to be onerous. Actually, it's quite pleasurable. If I just told you to get those ingredients, the beets, the spinach, the garlic, the onions, the cherries, all right, and I gave it to a chef, professional chef, and told them to go knock themselves out, they'd come up with an amazing meal for you. Food is medicine, not so hard to do. Now, I got to tell you one more thing about formaldehyde. Formaldehyde triggers inflammation in the body, right? It's irritating. It destroys DNA. It damages your cells, damages your blood vessels. What's going to happen? You're going to get inflammation. So how do you counter that? Well, you eat foods that are anti-inflammatory. I don't need to tell you that eating anti-inflammatory foods are beneficial. Everybody says that, and it is true. All right. So, but I want to tell you what are some of my recommended anti-inflammatory foods. You know, you get a lot of bang for your buck if you eat berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. They all contain a natural bioactive called anthocyanins. That's what gives them their color. Okay. It's like a natural food dye. All right. And guess what? That lowers inflammation big time. Another thing that I recommend that lowers inflammation is extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil has anti-inflammatory polyphenols, good to help neutralize the inflammation that toxin exposure, like formaldehyde, can actually cause. Turmeric. All right, another spice actually has got curcumin, anti-inflammatory. Now, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, all right, and you want to have plants that have omega-3s, well, you can get precursor plants that have the omega-3s and make your body make its own omega-3s like flaxseed and chia seeds. That's a way to actually get plant-based omega-3s. All right, leafy greens, super packed with antioxidants like sulforaphanes, anti-inflammatory. And tomatoes. Tomatoes have lycopene and beta-cryptosanthin. These are natural chemicals. Trust me, I study food as medicine. So I'm the only person that really needs to memorize all these chemical names. You should just know tomatoes, leafy greens, fatty fish, spices like turmeric, extra virgin olive oil, berries, right? That's all you really need to know about. But tomatoes have lycopene and beta-cryptosanthin. These bioactives are also anti-inflammatory. So a steady intake of these kinds of foods that you'd find in the farmer's market or in the grocery store in the produce section can keep inflammation in check, reduce your body's vulnerability to toxic exposures like formaldehyde. So I want to give you some practical steps right now how you can actually lower formaldehyde exposure in your house. That's an easy way to get it all out. And if you can get an air purifier, invest in an air purifier in your home. The kind you want to get has something called PiCO-P. That stands for photo, that's P, electro, that's E, chemical, that's C, oxidation, that's O. PiCO. PiCO technology helps to remove toxins like formaldehyde, and when you're actually buying furniture or paint or solvents or cleaning material, do your research. Check out the products, prefer the products that are what we call low VOC products. All right, low in volatile organic compounds, VOCC, volatile organic compounds, one of which is formaldehyde. All right. And by the way, when you're buying fabric, whether it's clothing or drapes or sheets, avoid the wrinkle-free ones. All right. Just go for the natural fibers, cotton, linen. Actually, they're more natural. They look better anyway. And by the way, for cleaning products, go for the fragrance-free cleaning products. You don't need that extra nice flurry scents. It's engineered and not the real thing anyway. And by the way, if you can't find the information on the package, I always get really irritated when I'm looking for information that should be transparent and I don't find it. You can search it on the internet. Oh, I can't find it there either. Don't hesitate to ask the manufacturers directly. Go to the company that makes it, send them an email, and just tell them, look, I want to know, do you have VOCCs? Is it low VOC or not? Do you have formaldehyde in your product or not? All right, transparency is an important thing. Growing trend. I think more and more companies are actually going to be heading to just telling people what's in there. It's an informed choice. Even though they told you information, you might still choose it because you want it or you need it. It's okay, but at least now you know. Informed choice actually makes your home and your body a little safer. Now, here's something else I want to tell you. If you've got kids or pets, children breathe more air per pound of body weight than adults. So they absorb more of the formaldehyde that's in your house. And pets, they got short legs. They're close to the ground. And pets are in contact with your furniture and your carpets much more than you are. All right? Your dog, your cat, just think about it. So they're going to be exposed to more volatile organic compounds like formaldehyde than you are. So when you make your indoor environment safer and you open your windows and let the formaldehyde out, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also protecting the ones that you care about in your house. Now that you know the facts, I'm going to encourage you to take just one more step today. I want you to find one product in your home that might be leaching out formaldehyde. All right? Maybe that old particle board stool that you've had forever. Throw it out. Okay? Read one label. All right? Look in the cautions. Usually the cautions will say contains formaldehyde. All right? Look at your paint cans. Look at your cleaning agents under your sink. All right? Find one thing that has formaldehyde and throw it out and replace it with something that doesn't have formaldehyde. And then crack one window open, get some air to circulate, just even for an hour. All right? Let in some fresh air. Let some of that formaldehyde out. And I want you to add one vascular supporting food to your plate. And we talked about that. Beets, spinach, dark chocolate, berries. You can do it. All right? And it's going to taste great as well. And of course, tea and coffee are good for your liver, good for your kidneys because of the water, and good for your circulation as well. Every small decision you make, every little move you make like this is a small step that will have big benefits later for your health. So here's a question I'll leave you with. What is one product in your home right now that you are rethinking about after what I've told you about from Aldehyde? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about how you're taking action. And if this video helped you rethink your indoor environment and how you support your body's health defenses, and maybe choose some food as medicine, then hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you never miss a science-backed health update from me, Dr. Li. See you in the next video. Dr. Li out. Hey, if you like that video, then you're going to love this one. Check it out.